Okay, so some people have been asking me about the diagrams I posted on Facebook relating to an unbalanced diet. Unbalanced diet, as you see, is very indicative of what we take in, which is sometimes our food intake and also maybe our hormonal changes or even the air we breathe in. So I'll briefly go through some things and discuss it. So in terms of the part we spoke about, the five elements that refer to taste, you could just look at it. Made a PowerPoint slideshow of that. You could view it. The five elements again we said, as it regards to or even relates to taste, are fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. Wood has direct function to the liver, and they suggest that sour foods help with this. Also, the heart is related to fire. Then we have the spleen being related to earth, lung relating to metal, and water relating to the kidneys, which is essential in flushing the kidneys. I made a diagram of two propane molecules interacting to form a benzene ring. Benzene is a six carbon ring. And the reason I chose benzene is because it's very high in energy and it also has two different energy levels. So I'll explain and you could follow along with the slides. So for the non-living things, air is essential. Non-living being bacteria, protozoa, all these different microscopic elements. And the reason we say they're non-living is because they're not able to display all nine functions as human beings: reproduction, growth, digestion, excretion, and etc., etc. Okay, I think I'm missing four others, but it's helpful and in terms of understanding the difference between non-living and living things. But that's not my focus. My focus is that some people have been wondering why they emit certain odor that may be resistant to be cured. One thing could be the type of things you're ingesting. Let's say some trace elements, which could be sulfur or even lead, makes its way into your food, right? And you ingest that, and it goes into your bloodstream. Sulfur, when mixed with hydrogen, let's say from water, and we breathe in oxygen, can make something called hydrogen sulfide. That compound is very potent and it gives off a very distinct stinking odor. You could get rid of this by drinking things that are acidic, such as calcium hydroxide compounds. That would just be like lime mixed with water. When the calcium interacts with the sulfur, it chelates the sulfur and causes it to disassociate from the hydrogen, and also helps the body to free up itself of any odor. You find that in undeveloped countries or underdeveloped countries, um, they use lime water to sort of wash their underarm, genitals, hair, mouth. But in developed countries, you could just buy a bar of soap and get rid of that. But you may want to pay attention to your nutrition. If something seeps into your water, you may want to boil your water, and that's helpful. Even using soft water, such as boiled water, to bathe with is helpful because it kills any microscopic bacteria that's in it. So moving right along, you find that some non-living things can also become a part of our bodily requirements, like in the intestines. We need certain bacteria to digest food. Those are useful bacteria, but a buildup of them can also make you stink. So to get rid of that, you want to eat the right type of food. Green leafy vegetables, high in roughage, helps to clear up that area. Then moving right along, you find that from the yellow to the orange, we said yellow is for sexuality. Um, orange is creativity, and red we say is fire. Those things help to denote who is on a more refined, sophisticated level in terms of our hierarchy of living. So you find that as human beings, which are living things, we say we're higher functioning because we're able to be more intellectual and think and read and work and different things like that. For the benzene structure, I chose benzene because if you look at the diagram, it's a very stable, resistant compound. You'd have to break the bonds to actually cause something to vacate, but it, there's always delocalization of energy floating around. So that compound is very useful. It's a 6 orbital compound, so you find you have 3 orbitals on top and 3 on the bottom. The top one is higher in energy, and the bottom one supposedly is lower in energy. But you could always interchange either depending on your energy level and your requirements. Moving right along, talk about the 2 energy levels. You could see those. Not really necessary for me to speak about in a talk, but if you want to delve into more higher, intriguing organic chemistry, then that's something to look into. Now, in regards to the physical state of the mind, I find that it's very helpful to know what you eat. So in terms of, let's say, if you want to increase some speed, you'll probably have to be more spiritual, read a lot, increase your level of intelligence and how you observe different things, and also help to meditate. Your memory is important as well because that's where you could store certain information from prior knowledge. In the case your memory is annihilated in regards to Alzheimer's or even dementia and different things like that, you could compensate for loss of memory. How you do that is by eating a lot of pungent food. Pungent food meaning like cheese, fish, or something we call, or even green vegetables. The reason for this is because it traps whatever you're learning in your brain cells, and that helps. But you want to make sure you have alcohol sparingly. Like my face now is displaying a lot of pimples. I have been overloading on carbs, and I know that. But hey, spring is around the corner, it will clear up. Yeah, carbs help to keep you warm. So if you're missing some sort of fire substance in your diet, you could always have carbs to keep you warm. And moving right along, for your attention, they suggest having metals. Metals are just like vitamins. Let's say you could have maybe kelp and also some sort of iodine in your diet, and that's helpful. But you also don't want a buildup of that because that's where things start interacting and giving odors, as we discussed. So you want to flush your system with water. And then for the part we call sexuality, the yellow part, that's helpful because you'll only be able to enhance your sexuality when you get married, first of all, hint, hint, and also when you start reading and knowing how to express yourself and to satisfy your cravings, and that's helpful. In terms, in terms of your creative portion, you want to make sure you get a lot of rest. Sleeping helps because it helps you to perform better, and that's helpful. And so we could wrap this up and talk about creativity being wood. That was left out of the epoch. I'm very detailed, and I find myself as an aspiring teacher to explain things in detail so the person who doesn't understand it would get a better understanding. And for creativity, you want to make sure that it's not damaged or you don't lose purpose of this, because everything you learn in life is from your childhood and it gets stored there. And the type of foods you eat helps, like oranges, limes, tomatoes, and you need to grease this with some omega-3 fatty acids. Yeah, I'm very literally in that terms. Wood, grease, yeah, you got it. it. You want to meditate if you want to move to a higher level in life. Meditating helps you to function and help you focus. Focus is very important, just as creativity, because you find that at higher risk, like there's a threat condition that is high with your creativity, and you don't want to miss out on that. It's even more severe risk taking with focus, but you may not want to lose that as well. Um, Focus is actually the green portion. So for non-living things, that's the blue portion. For living things, it's the green portion. A lot of people are getting excited now since I spoke about this. Focus can actually be converted into air. As we say, wood, which is some sort of methane or block, mixed when it's burnt, it gives off oxygen and also so air. Oxygen is air as we know it, and then the remainder just be methane, and that's when you die. But the whole cycle is reversible and is also interchangeable. I don't think I left out anything. How can you get focused to air? Um, Exercise. You need exercise to expel air. And when we feel like being more sexual, then we go right back to earth and repeat the cycle again. So once you reach to the sexual portion, the yellow portion, that's when you decide to get married. Then you cycle from creativity to focus back to sexuality. There's no need to go back to the non-living portion because that's just a mundane way of living. Every day you do the same thing. You eat, sleep, but the higher part would be when you start living. All right, and we always want to live and we always want to feel alive. And that is all.